pregnant when she went into the lake. They're just doing what evolution programmed them to do.
Did you hear that?
They're surviving.
Dolph Lundgren there, turning 57, someone who was motivated to do what he does, in part due to the negative words that his father spoke over him. And we will be speaking to a motivational trainer in everyday life, and she'll be helping us understand and finding our purpose in life, helping us to become who we were created to be.
Everyday Life
is brought to you by ICEA Group
on Star Times.
Joan Mugenzi, welcome to the show. This is Morning at NTV. I do not know, is this your first time here?
Yes, it is.
It is your first time here, but I've been seeing you around. So you describe yourself as a motivational trainer.
Yes.
What does that mean exactly?
Well, motivational trainer is more of motivating you to achieve your purpose in life, to think about your dreams and see them being articulated. That's what I do as something on the side, because my main role is a community health systems advisor with World Vision International. And within that work, I always now make fun and say, well, I mainly speak to the health of the mind, because community health is something different. So, but then outside my normal job, I do motivational training, and coming here, I had to ask my boss for permission to be here. So Mr. Gilbert Kamanga gave me permission to come for the show, because I told him whatever I was going to talk about has nothing to do with World Vision, although World Vision has shaped who I am.
Wow. So they are the ones who gave you your purpose? Did they help you find your feet?
Well, purpose is something that sometimes we stumble upon. Maybe for most of us, that's what exactly happens. But the critical thing that I should say is that, you know, there are things that we do and you kind of do not really understand why you're doing them. But then with time, as you understand the process of purpose, then you say that maybe that's where it is exactly that I ought to be. For example, I've always known myself to be an encourager, and I've known this for over a decade. But then I could ask myself, what does it exactly mean to be an encourager? So how do you do it on a massive scale? Because if all you're doing is to say, I'm an encourager, then what? If I meet you and then I encourage you, is that all? Because we know that we are all created unique. And so being our unique individuals, we need to be able to reach out and use our giftings to impact other people. So I knew that that was it. But then along the way, it became a little bit frustrating, thinking, how else can I
encourage people?
So in 2010, I enrolled for a program by the Institute for National Transformation. And one of the critical things that they were doing was to help people walk in their spheres of influence. And so we get through this program, and I tell the designers of the program that, well, you've helped me in terms of broadening my understanding of things to do with purpose, but I don't think you've actually nailed what I'm supposed to do, because it was very clear. I knew I wanted to be an encourager, and I couldn't really fit in all these different things that they were talking about. Then, but, I mean, I had hope. I thought that, yes, every sphere of influence that you step in, there is a way that you're supposed to be able to reach out and expand whatever it is that you are speaking to. And so when I went through that process, the next bet was to find out how exactly am I going to move beyond what INT, the Institute for National Transformation, had given me. And so I kind of became alert in terms of what books I was reading, because I knew what it was that I needed to do. The reason now I say it with confidence that I'm a motivational trainer, last year I attended the Live to Lead by John Maxwell. It was a simulcast. And John Maxwell comes on and says, I am a motivational trainer. I am not a motivational speaker. And that kind of sorted it. I said, now this is what I am. This is who I am. And therefore, I said, now I know how exactly I'm supposed to be reaching out.
The difference being between a motivational trainer and a motivational speaker?
Well, a motivational speaker will come, excite you, and after you're excited, they go, and then you don't know what's next. A motivational trainer, what I must say is that I've designed a real structured process that I walk people through, that I call Imagine Me, because I mean, imagine me is about you and your purpose. So imagine me, once you've nailed that bit, then you're asking yourself, how do I move forward? Because in most cases, we get frustrated. We have ideas, but we do not act on those ideas. So how do you move forward with your life purpose once you have nailed it? Of course, it takes a process to try and identify what it is.
Well, I'm speaking here to Joan, who is a motivational trainer, and she has just explained the difference between being a motivational trainer and a motivational speaker. And we are talking about becoming all you were created to be today here on Everyday Life. It has been said before that there are two very important days in anyone's life. One, the day you were born, and two, the day you find out why. Is this true?
I would say that yes, it is true. Of course, that day you are born, you have no idea what goes on. People are celebrating. You know, I look at my childhood pictures and I'm always thinking, well, my parents seem to have had it right. There are all these pictures that I have. But that day you find out your life purpose, it is very exciting. Like I've told you, the kind of environment I work in is community health, and I love health. I did my master's in public health. I have a media background, and all that has been great. It is great stuff that
media,
I do.
You mean broadcasts?
No, print media.
Print
okay. Media. But then when it comes to life purpose, there is something that is totally different. Because
so your purpose is health,
why.
you would say?
No. My purpose has nothing to do with health. Health is my training. And we say that health is not just the absence of infirmity and disease. So for me, the health that I'm dealing with now in my life purpose has everything to do with the mind, because whatever it is that you want to achieve starts with the mind. But then stepping out of your fear and being able to grasp that which you have been created to be, that which you have been uniquely fashioned to do, then that becomes something that is very, very exciting. And I guess everyone needs to come to that point.
But how do you get to that point? Because sometimes you think, oh, when you're in secondary school, you want to be this, or you go and study something else at campus, and then later on life throws you a different job, and you get to 30 or 40 and you're like, you're stuck, or even before that. So how does one know what they were created to be?
Well, there are so many things that you could do. The most obvious one is to do training. That's why, for example, I'm saying that I've designed a program called Imagine Me to just help people be able to get to that point where they nail what their life purpose is. But there are things that we do every day that we could think about and realize that, yes, something could be different. The things that give you joy, that when you're doing it, it brings you joy. For example, I've told you that for a long time, I knew that I was an encourager.
Yes.
And sometimes I would be running a workshop and I kind of veer off the key reason why we are running that workshop. And I'm thinking, why did I even talk about that? Then during the tea break, somebody walks up to you and says, do you know that was my word? And you just feel like, okay, now I'm no longer going to feel weird getting off what is supposed to be the main topic and talk about something different. So in a way, you discover that through the things that you do every day, the things that bring you joy, just pay close attention to those things that bring you joy, those things that would make a difference, those things that when you're doing them, you don't even think about anything else. You feel the joy. It doesn't matter whether you're paid or not paid to do them.
But I find sometimes a bit of a conflict, doing what you love, what you find a joy, and what you're actually good at. And I can give an example of learning, let's say, to play a musical instrument. I did spend a bit of time learning at an older age to play, and I'm really passionate about classical piano. But I was a bit of a slow learner, I would say, and I haven't practiced now in a while. But I was really passionate about it. And then there are other people who it would just come naturally. You find there are some people who are more gifted in certain things than others, and yet, you know, you love something, but you're not that good at it. How do you reconcile the two, between what you love and what you're good at, if they're not the same?
Well, what you love and what you're good at, some people are blessed that they move in their purpose, and that's what they do on a daily basis. But even within your environment, you can always find a way of doing what it is that you love. Because, for instance, I believe if you're bored, the key thing that you would get to is to say, okay, maybe let me go to the piano and, you know, get to the keys and get whatever is going to motivate you. Because you see, when we are thinking about things to do with happiness, with joy, they will come from the things that we love to do. But I also realized that we are more in that survival mentality because you have to do whatever comes your way. But there is also a catch. The environments within which we are can easily shape whatever it is that you're doing. There is something that was interesting that happened during this process. Last year is when I actually designed the program. But when I look back at World Vision, the job that I did had a lot to do with designing training materials, pre-testing those materials across 15 countries. And so I kind of have been shaped in that environment to realize that, hey, whatever I did then, when I was designing the program, it was a no-brainer because I knew what exactly I wanted to achieve at the end of the day. I knew what objectives are supposed to be fulfilled. But then the people who signed up for the initial sessions, they did it knowing that you're getting your notes from an exercise book of some sort, because I wouldn't call myself one that does a lot of journaling, but I write a lot of stuff in my books. So I would tell them these are the elements, and then at the end of each session, I would ask them what went well, what did not go well, how would you do it differently? So that has nothing to do with me loving to develop training materials. But what was motivating me to develop the material had everything to do with who I am as an encourager. So how do I see that by the time somebody is through with the first session, for example, how do they turn their life around to do something, even with just one session? So that is where the difference comes in. But I believe the people who have the most superb job are the ones who are literally doing what they love to do. I love my job. There is no doubt about that. But then within that environment has had many people who I have encouraged. I have people who have ended up having very amazing international jobs just because maybe you are attending a session and then they're telling you, Joan, can you please present on behalf of our group? And then you're thinking, you know, you're deep in the villages there, that's where you're working from, and then how will this senior leadership team get to know that you exist? Please take the ball, get out there and do your presentation. And before you know it, somebody is flying. And so for me, that is something that is exciting, just knowing that my purpose is to encourage somebody and let them be.
Okay, we are talking to Joan Mugenzi, who is a motivational trainer. There is a number on your screen, and please feel free to call and ask her any question you like about purpose, about what you're created to be, and about maybe any other situation regarding that, around that. Now, Joan, to what extent does the family one grows in play in shaping a person, the schools the person attends, the friends they have? How much do they contribute to what a person wants to be?
I must say that for a long time, I thought those do a lot of shaping. Yes, they could, but each person's destiny is a personal responsibility.
Really?
Yes, that is.
So even if you're coming from deep somewhere,
I must say I went to I went to St. Kalemba. That is way deep in
in
Nazigo. That's where I went. And so, I mean, when I think about the things that I'm doing, possibly I've met people who will ask me questions and they ask me about the traditional schools and they are thinking that's where I went, but I did not go to those schools. But then the thing is, wherever you are at, it is your personal responsibility. Events are events, they've already happened. One of my critical virtual mentor, and I'm grateful that in August I was able to meet him, Jack Canfield, taught us a formula that I believe in. E plus R is equal to O. Event plus a response is equal to the outcome. So there is an event.
E plus R equals O. Mm-hmm.
Yes. There is an event, and that event could be that you went to Nazigo in Bugerere. There is an event that you were born somewhere in Chanamukaka, and therefore you think your environment is a very terrible environment. And how you respond to those circumstances, you can sit back and begin blaming your environment for not being able to achieve whatever it is that you have to achieve. But the critical thing is, how do you take responsibility and just know those were those circumstances? Now I take personal responsibility. I go to a church where my pastor usually says that the moment you hit 18, you have no role in blaming your circumstances, in blaming your family, in blaming the choices that your parents made. That has nothing to do with it. Just take personal responsibility, step out into your destiny, overcome your fears.
Okay, we do have a caller on the line. Good morning. Do let us know your name and where you are calling from.
I am called in
Yes, Major A. I didn't get the name, but go ahead, please. Major Eli from Bar. Okay, do let us know your question or comment. Oh, I think we have lost. Please call again if you do have a question or comment for Joan, who is a motivational trainer. Good morning. Good morning. Please step away from your TV set. Okay, when you do call, this is a reminder to step away from your TV set because there is about a 2-second delay and you can actually get confused and wonder if you're on air. Good morning. I believe we have another caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, do let us know your name, your question or comment.
I'm calling Mugara.
Yes, please do go ahead.
Now I want to know.
Yes.
Yes.
You want to know? What would you like to know?
For me, I'm still a student,
Yes.
but I would like her to help me about counseling. Is it possible?
What type of counseling? What type of counseling would you want? Career counseling?
Yes.
I don't know. That question sounds very vague to me. I don't know. Have you?
Yes, career counseling.
What class are you? You said you're still studying. Hello? I don't know if the caller is still on. Can you help in that situation?
I guess being that the caller is a student, one of the things, that's a critical time because you're always thinking, what am I supposed to step out and do? And it can be a very confusing moment, especially if you don't have a very good career guidance program in your school. So that's why people stumble on different things and, you know, you just try out things and they either work out for you or they do not work out for you. Of course, as a student, one of the key things that one needs to pay attention to is what are they good at? And then that would kind of a little bit lean towards what you are talking about, that environment that in which you are. How supportive are they of whatever you feel you're good at? Of course, you cannot say that I'm good at sciences and therefore neglect the arts because we know everything at the end of the day is contributing towards the ultimate goal. You have to go through the phases. You have to go through primary school, secondary school, university, but that only shapes the starting point of your reasoning.
So you're saying training plays a very small part?
It doesn't play a very small part because that kind of helps you to begin your reasoning journey, if I may put it that way. I remember when I was joining university, I got arts and I was thinking, what am I going to do with these things? And I even wanted to go and
What
pursue.
subjects did you do?
I did linguistics. So linguistics and religious studies. So now you can imagine this whole combination of things. But I remember a friend telling me that, do you know why the first degree is called a basic degree? It's exactly that, it's basic. And so because it's basic, it's only helping you to step out. And the key message that he gave me was, just make sure you do not get a pass degree, because where are you going to go with a pass degree? And along the way, I've added communications to it. Along the way, I've added public health to it. And it's exciting to just realize that, yes, that word that somebody gave me. For a student, the best message that I would give, surround yourself with brilliant people. Don't waste time with people whose major focus maybe is partying. I know it's a stage of partying well, but the critical thing is, who are those people that are going to speak life into your life? Whether it's your teachers, whether it's fellow students. So you have to ask yourself, what is it that you want to focus on that will give you an edge over your peers? And this is something that has also come through during our Power Breakfast events. We organize Power Breakfast events, and you realize that people ask you questions and they kind of relate it to
We
that.
have another caller online. Good morning. Do let us know your question. I think we have lost that caller, but do feel free to call in and ask Joan whatever questions you have about life, about career, and no matter the age. Really, no matter the age, because you do find some people saying, you know, I studied this and now this is where I'm at in life, and I'm actually quite depressed because they feel they're not doing what they love to do or what they were created to be. I wanted to ask, when children come to you, if a child goes to a parent and says, oh, mommy, I want to be a pilot, or I want to be a president. Yes, we have a caller, I am told, on the line. Good morning. Do let us know your question, your comment, and where you're calling from.
Good morning to you.
Yes.
How are you? This is Martin. I'm calling from Jinga.
Yes, Mark. Martin, okay.
Yes, I wanted to ask, how can we get in contact with her, any social media, something like easy communication, I don't know, or a number or something like that.
Okay, thank you very much, Martin.
Thank you too.
My number, I think I'll give my email address. My email address is joanmugenzi@gmail.com, but that's the very name I also use on social media, on Facebook. That's the name that I use.
Joan Mugenzi, there's no Y.
There is no Y. Joan Mugenzi, Mugenzi, Mugenzi.
Okay then. So I was asking you earlier, if a child goes to a parent and says, I want to be a pilot or a president, and you are so sure that this is not going to happen in 1,000 years, how do you respond to that? We will take that. You can answer that after this caller. The call, we don't have the call anymore.
Okay. What makes you think that that dream can never happen? You see, the whole thing is we ourselves block our minds and think things cannot happen. Something that is amazing, when I was growing up as a child, one of the critical things that I wanted was to travel. So every time I talked about being a pilot, I was thinking, yes, I want to be a pilot because I wanted to travel, and eventually I settled for, I wanted to become an ambassador. For the very reason that my dad died, and then when he passed on, I was, you know, taken up by a different family, and these were amazing people, and my new dad was traveling the world, and so every time we would be taking him to the airport, and then, you know, people would transition through our home because we're living in Entebbe. So for me, the drive was to always travel, and I thought the best way to travel is become a pilot, and I thought, but that is boring. It looks like you fly the plane, you land, and then that's it. But then I thought, well, maybe when you become an ambassador, in my mind, I thought all that ambassadors do is to travel. So I think sometimes it's better to understand what is the why behind what somebody is looking for. Because now the job that I am in has fulfilled my childhood dream, because I've traveled, I think, to close to 30 countries, and I don't take that for granted. I just realized that the universe responded to my childhood wish as a child.
Interesting use of the universe. But what I mean is sometimes you want to be realistic. For example, how many female Ugandan pilots are there? We do not have a national airline. So what are the chances that you're going to fly for BA or Emirates? So you're just trying to tell your child, you know, yes, you can become maybe an air hostess. But pilots, you know, trying to be realistic and not give the child false hope. Is that wrong?
We are talking about globalization here. We are a global village. I think for me, the critical thing is to just help the child. You have your own fears, but don't take out your fears onto your child. Let the child nurture their dreams while you're helping them, because you know at the end of the day, they must pass these subjects that they have. At the end of the day, they must be able to use their reasoning, get them into a scenario where you're going to have some kind of discourse with them. Because I think what we fail in that sense is to think that all our fears is what we take out to these people. You imagine if Dr. Gladys Kalima was stopped from her dream, what would have happened? Because maybe you're thinking vet, but somebody telling you I'm going to interface with elephants and all these wild things. I mean, it would look extremely crazy. But then that environment is created, because the more, you know, there is what is called the law of attraction, that kind of you attract those things that, you know, you're kind of thinking about. Because who says that they're supposed to fly and then fly Uganda Airlines, for example, if we were to have it, or Kenya Airways? You know, it could be that they're going to end up in Britain, and they will be able to do whatever it is that they ought to do. So the thing is, work along with them. Do not limit your thinking to your environment, to your village. I live in Kisasi, so I shouldn't be thinking about my environment around Kisasi. There is a broader environment. When people are talking about things to do with Kololo or Munyonyo. Maybe the best way that I could help myself is to go and drive through that environment and have a feel of, oh, yeah, what does it look like? Yeah.
Does it surprise you that there are so many people who realize that they do not know what they want to do with their lives?
It's not a surprise at all. And in fact, I think that is the greatest challenge that we have in terms of humanity, the fact that people are living without knowing their life purpose. The unfortunate bit, some know their life purpose, but guess what? They are not doing anything about it, and that's also extremely frustrating.
Let me tell you why you can't blame them, because growing up in the Ugandan system of education, I was an average student, and where I was for my O-level, you would not be given sciences in A-level if you were average. Sciences were like for only the top. And yet I really felt deep down that history was not my thing, and even at A-level I didn't pass it well. But somehow you're conditioned, like you say, you go to Makerere, you're given a Bachelor of Arts degree, and you just go and do it, and then afterwards somehow you end up somewhere, and then life goes on, and you kind of forget about what your real desire was. So it was our system. Can't I blame Ministry of Education?
Please, you cannot blame government, you cannot blame the system, you cannot blame your parents. There is always that realization, because once that phase is gone, it's an event, it has already happened. Your school has already forced you to do history, you failed it, then what is the next thing? You cannot live your life looking at all the things that you lost in the past, because, I mean, there is always a second chance in life, a third and fourth chance, you know, in life.
Hallelujah.
You just step out. Yes, now I want to sound like I'm preaching, but that is the whole essence of life, that the moment you decide that I'm going to be different, start your journey at that point in time, because if you don't do that, you're wasting more time and wasting more opportunities, because we always say, I will smuggle in something that we are planning to do, because I'm thinking about
January.
First to overtake slow. In January 8th, it's a Friday. We are going to have what we are calling Dine and Dream. It's an event that will run from 2 p.m. to 9 p.m. As Africans, we love our food. And so we always want to celebrate things around food. And so,
please hold on while we take this caller. Good morning.
Good morning.
Yes, your name, please, and your question or comment.
I think there is a discussion on motivational leadership.
Yes.
On the screen right now.
Yes.
And I wanted to talk to them. When they gave us this number, I saw it on the screen, and I'm trying to get them. But
yes, you are live. We are speaking to you live.
Okay. It is a very interesting discussion.
Yes.
Hello?
Yes, we can hear you.
It is an interesting discussion, and I would like to suggest that this kind of program should be aired at about 8 in the evening, when young people are generally at home and can watch it. But right now, most of them are at work.
Thank you very much, sir. We do actually stream live, and you can get a recording of this on YouTube later on. But thank you for that comment. We shall see if we will be able to squeeze it into programming later on in the day. Thank you very much. Quite interesting. He sounds like a father. Maybe he wants his children to, you know, to hear what we are saying.
And that event is actually open to
Dream and Dine.
Dine and dream. Yes, Dine and Dream, because we know that we need to dream. That's why I told you the program is called Imagining. Imagine, this is, you know, you set your own course and say, this is where I want to head to. So you're imagining self, and therefore you're thinking, okay, how do I move forward? And the thing is, first will overtake slow. The whole idea is we have ideas, but the moment you do not act on them, fast as in F-A-S-T, not F-I-R-S-T. Whoever is fast will overtake the slow one, because you're busy blaming your environment. Another person is saying, I'm out of...
We have another caller. Good morning. You're live. This is Morning at NTV. Yes, may you please speak up? Oh, okay. I hope Arua is fine this morning.
I'm not very clear, but it's okay. But the one thing with you here, most people give the internet. What if about us who doesn't have the internet? Now she's giving us, why not the number? Because most people, they like this program, but the problem they don't have internet. How can immediately encourage the minority, the majority. The internet is for the majority, for the minority. Thank you very much.
So for those who are not .com, Joan, how can you love to encourage people?
Because we also want to get something from her also. But now she's giving all the internet, not her alone. Most people who come here, even the radio, they just give internet. What about the telephone?
Okay, thank you very much. It has been noted. Joan, do you have any comments?
I'm going to give you my number, provided you're calling between 5:30 p.m. and 6:30 p.m. because, like I said, I have a full-time job, so I don't really get into discussing those personal matters during that time. Or between the lunch break, 1 p.m. to 2 p.m. It is 0772 460 976.
Okay, and please, I hope they call for the purpose of this and not say, send me mobile money and that kind of stuff. So you're still telling us about Dine and Dream.
Yes.
It's open for people of all ages?
Anybody from university to the ones who are working. I will tell you something. Most of the people that have been participating in the Imagine Me sessions are what you would consider your corporates. And it's very, I mean, it's kind of perplexing when you see how confused we are. We are a confused lot. We who are considered as the corporates, as the middle class, we are a confused lot because we are living for other people. Okay, whatever we do, I'm living my life, but I'm not living it for self, I'm living it for other people. And I think that is a little bit frustrating. So we are creating an environment where we are saying we will start off with an equipped session, and that equipped session, that is where the magic is going to be. Because when we talk about Dine and Dream, people think entertainment, they see food, that is okay, but food is going to crown the whole event. So we'll do an equipped session which will run for 3.5 hours. This is going to be at Silver Springs. And then after that hour, after that time, we'll have a networking hour. Networking doesn't come easy, we always talk about it, but we are going to set everyone up to be able to network with whoever they want to network with. And then in the evening, we are going to have a panel discussion, including young people, like the MD for Hello Food is going to be with us. I'm not going to unleash the other panel discussants, but it's exciting.
Okay, but people, you've given out your phone number and people can find you,
yes,
Joan Mugenzi,
yes, at gmail.com. Yes.
Okay.
There's also a Facebook page holding each other's hands all the way beyond me. So that's.
Okay, Joan, thank you very much. It has been a pleasure speaking to you today, and I hope we have set you on the path on discovering who you were actually created to be. Today is November the 3rd. We will be having live broadcast with all the events happening at Nambole, along the Ginger Road. And yes, it promises to be a very exciting day as 4 presidential aspirants are being nominated. We'll have interviews with the aspirants, hopefully. And yeah, we'll start, I think, with handing over to Brian shortly to take us through the rest of the day. Otherwise, do have yourselves a great day and keep it here, NTV.
ICA Group, we believe in promises that last a lifetime. That is why our insurance, pensions, and investment solutions are tailored to support you through life's changing moments.
Start time. Owagabiwo mu digital team. For more information, call 117-117-700. Start time. Affordable digital television.
You're watching Morning at NTV with Simon Kasiate, Mabel Kebirunji, and Brian Molondo.
Hello, my love.
Adolfo.
A wealthy and influential family appeared to have it all.
Your husband. He was looking for you.
What did you tell him?
Nothing.
Something has happened that has changed things between the two of us. You know that I will always love your brother.
But they were rocked by a tragedy when Adolfo, husband of the eldest daughter, Ignacia, died by falling out a window in the family mansion.
I asked the question, did he die?
When Gonzalo marries Ignacia 6 months later, he is compelled to unravel the mystery